All right, here we go. Kate and I just jumped on and she started talking and I was like, hold on. Let's just save this for, I feel like I love to have these real conversations with women who have gone through Soul Business Accelerator and worked with me. And I like to share your stories because they're real and we've all been at the beginning and we've all struggled and we've all had no plan and no clarity and no direction. We had a purpose and a mission and a desire and a vision, but we didn't know how to make it real. So I think sometimes hearing other women's journeys is so helpful, especially when they're in the beginning stages. But you were just sharing with me that you signed up for Soul Business Accelerator in January of 2020, no,
2022, January 31st. I just looked it
of
up.
2022. Okay. Yeah. Amazing. Wow. Okay. So tell us, before we dive into your story a little bit, what is the work that you do? What is your niche per se?
Sure. So I get to love people in a lot of different ways.
Mm.
Mainly, I focus on mindset and retraining the brain. And it is ever evolving, but right now, my core places where I am working with different people is corporate and college space for speaking engagements and workshops. I actually just got off a call with a woman who runs a nonprofit for young females. So, definitely in the nonprofit space a little bit too, as I'm reflecting right now. And then I get to coach people in a group capacity for women who are really just starting the personal development journey and wanting to shift their mindset in a lot of different directions. It's unique for each woman. And then I also coach one-to-one women mainly, but I have had a couple men ask and I've, made sure we were aligned, but they are business owners when I work with them one-to-one. And we just talk about mindset and how they can, grow from where they are right now.
Which is so important. I talk about that too. It's like I can give somebody strategy all day long, and without the right mindset, the action won't be taken. So that's a huge component to building businesses. So I love the work that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were just telling me, looking back, like how different you are of a person, but share with me a little bit about why did you join Soul Business Accelerator? What were you struggling with? Where were you at in your business at the time?
So I was stalking you. I was definitely watching.
Yes, I love stalkers.
Right? And I think some team members could probably say that I used to say that on the calls we would have. I'm like, well, I'm stalking this person and learning from that one because I truly do believe now in reflection that I needed to be aligned with, especially female entrepreneurs who, grew their own business, uniquely theirs, because you really and some other women who are in the group have paved the path before me. I left my career as an educator after 20 years. So I was like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to do this thing. So I needed a place where it was a community of support, tapping into that fierce female energy. And I think I probably watched some of your videos, was, on social media and all the places, and then finally set up a call with you and said, I was actually in my kitchen. I'm in my home office now, which is a virtual space. I get to love people sometimes through virtual speaking engagements. So it was interesting for me. Remember sitting in the kitchen and thinking, I don't know what to do or where to go, but I, know I need something. So I guess it
Like
started in
guidance
stalker
or
mode. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's really important when you make an investment that you feel really aligned with the strategy that they're teaching, and then obviously the woman and the life that she's created and how she does business. So yeah, I think that it's important to do your research, and that then saves us from making that mistake that a lot of people make. We hear that every day, and I did it myself. I invested in 2 programs that I never should have been sold into, and the people were really good salespeople, but I didn't, do enough research and I didn't trust my intuition enough. And I just, listen to what they said. So I think that's great that you were out there following your intuition and doing the work.
Right. Right. And I will say that I go back often, even though I started it in 2022, I go back often and revisit some different things that you've shared,
Like
you know,
inside SBA, you mean like the
yes,
modules and all of
the
that?
cycle of quitting and different things
Yeah.
like that, some tips that you give. I actually listen to, there's a meditation in there that
Yes.
I listen to most days,
Yeah.
before I
Gives
get on
space.
calls. Yeah, just to
Yeah.
get myself aligned and, remind myself of that
Yeah.
fierce female energy because yeah,
So
so I definitely go back to it.
yeah. What made you finally take the leap into like what made you finally say, I'm doing this?
So when I first resigned from my teaching position, I thought I can do this by myself, and I realized that that was a complete lie. I was figuring it out as I go, but I just felt chaotic. And I had a call with you and I was, looking at some of the testimonials from different women within your space who had already gone through your programs. And it just made sense to me, to figure out where do I want to start. I had an idea of who I wanted to love, but I didn't really know how to find them
Yeah.
and how to, and honestly, a lot of it, I'm on a podcast tour now, for example, and that really did start. Yeah, I love it. I get to chat
Love that. Yeah.
people all over the world. I chat with them now, and it really was part of the program to, pitch yourself and do these things,
Right.
put yourself out there.
Right.
And I think I just needed a place to begin,
For
and
sure. Like
it
the
really did.
guidance.
Right. And I'll be honest, I like the female aspect of it
Yeah.
because it's different as a woman, and I have kids, you have kids. I just felt like we connected in a lot of different, unique ways on our own journey, but also similar. So
For
I
sure.
think that's why I finally decided, all right, I'm going to do this.
Pull the pin.
Yeah.
And so what has been just the biggest business breakthroughs for you? I suppose over the last couple of years, like when you say you're in a different space, like what were the biggest breakthroughs, I suppose, that got you there?
Hmm. I think it would be willing to be open. I was willing to be open to shift and evolve and listen
Yes.
to different people, on the coaching calls and things like that. I was open to say, how does this sound? Does this, make sense to other people? Because what I'm doing, I have research behind it and I've done all the work and certification. So sometimes I'm saying something and it doesn't sound like what other people want to buy and purchase and, invest in me as a business owner. So I think being open to that feedback was a big game changer for me. I've always been open to feedback, but, you know, never running a business before, I needed to let myself listen. And I think another part of it is aligning myself with those women. I've stayed connected with many people who I guess kind of started the same time I did and like different coaches in your program and just, being inspired by them to put it out there and this is what I'm doing. And, I have a line now that I say, if you don't show it, they don't know it.
Oh my
So,
God, I love that. And that is so true. It's like
right.
have this beautiful gift and this work that, is coming from our heart and soul. And we know we're here to serve women. But if we don't put ourselves out there and share about it, we're the best kept secret ever, and we're broke and we're
Yeah.
struggling and we're doubting ourselves. And it's just a whole thing.
Yeah. I do think too, a big shift for me, which started within the program. When I was an educator, I was very much, giving a lot of myself for free often. So when I shift to being that business owner, I had to learn how to step into that role as a CEO and say, this is what I charge and
Yeah.
confidently say that and be willing to, negotiate and have those talks. Where in the beginning, the business was more of a hobby because I
Totally.
doing things for free and like wanting to help everyone,
Yeah.
so I think I saw a lot of growth there as well.
Yeah, that's a big shift for sure. Definitely going from treating it like a business from the start. And when you have that mindset, you show up very differently than when you're just like, oh, yeah, well, maybe I'll do this on the side or whatever.
Right.
What has been like, I guess, what's been your biggest achievement in your business over the last 2 years?
Probably my biggest achievement is my speaking engagements.
Yay. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have two women now who pitch me for speaking
Oh,
engagements and
awesome. Well
I
done.
love them, so they really align with the work that I do. And I'm just connecting with so many different people. And when I get to go out and do a speaking engagement, it hits different because there's more people that I can share this work with at once.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really do love that. And then that turns into other things,
Yep.
maybe other speaking engagements or coaching with different women and just,
Yep.
networking and connections that, kind of turn one thing into the next.
Yeah, that's what I always say is like the snowball. Once you do the initial work of like really pitching yourself and getting yourself out there, then all of a sudden things start coming to you. And it just, yeah, it becomes so much easier, I think, in the second and third year for sure.
Yeah, that first year's tough, but you got to keep going.
It
Yeah.
is. And that's for everybody. I think that's
Right.
something that, yeah, sometimes I don't talk enough about is like, yeah, the first year is hard. And I remember, people telling me like, you just have to get through the first year. And I remember thinking, I'm going to get through the first year and I'm not going to slow down or be inconsistent because I don't want to prolong that first year. Like I wanted to like go hard and just get it over with and get it done with and plant all the seeds. And I worked my ass off in that first year. And the second year it showed for it. And the third year it showed for it. And, I think if you just, but it's like a lot of times women will get frustrated and they'll stop and they'll take a 2-month break or they'll be very inconsistent. It's like what they don't realize is that they're just prolonging that painful.
Right. And they're probably so close.
Yes, always so close or like,
And I remember, posting on social media, doing all of the things and showing up, trying to grow my email list, all of the things, and thinking, is anyone even paying attention?
right,
You know, and now people are standing up and clapping and reaching out to me.
exactly,
So it's like, it's
exactly.
it's amazing. And then I get to do the work that I love. You have to put in the work. And, once you take that first step, it's easier to
For
take the next
sure.
step. So.
Yes. And I always say too, like having that guidance and that roadmap, whether it's me or another coach, like hire support, somebody that has done it. You worked with me. I've always had a coach. I know for me personally, I would never be where I am had I not had mentor that I have invested in the whole way across. It's like we save time, we save money, we help you focus on the needle moving, revenue generating activities. So I always recommend that for sure.
I would agree. And honestly, it was a huge mistake for me to think I could do it by myself for so many reasons. I needed, the support and the guidance, also someone to pour back into me,
Yes,
to
for
like
sure.
help me
Really.
recognize like and celebrate all of the minor successes that, I didn't even realize were success along the way. So I think that was important too, to keep me from quitting
Yeah.
because it's very easy, to talk yourself into like, is this going to get any better? But when you hear another voice looking from the outside in and guiding you, it makes a huge difference in the journey.
Makes a huge difference. Yeah. So, what would your advice be to a woman who's sitting in your shoes 2 years ago, and they're thinking about joining SBA, but they're not sure, or they're thinking about quitting their business, but they're not sure? What would your advice be to them?
Oh, my advice would be definitely to invest. I
Yeah.
think that this is a wonderful space. It is a community of growth, where I definitely learned from other women within the space, thinking first I was going to be working with the coach. And that did happen. But the other people within the coaching calls, that sense of community and support and, just different perspectives
Yeah.
was so valuable as well, and I would say, although you should do your stalking and make sure it's aligned with you, do not wait too long because you are really being selfish. The world does need the work that you want to put out there. I
Amen.
like I really do believe now, and this was a shift for me that like what I want wants me too.
Yeah.
But you gotta, do the work and get there. So I would say go for it. I would definitely encourage it.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Where can these women find you? What would you like to share with them?
Sure. So I would say the best place to connect with me would probably be my website, which is www.danu now. It's Danu, Now, the goddess, Danu. And then I'm on Instagram, all the places under Kate underscore McCauley underscore XO, Kate McCauley on LinkedIn, all the places. If you put Kate McCauley in, I'm
You're gonna
coming up on I'm coming up on a search now because I'm in a lot of different places.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know. Isn't
I'll
that so
just own that.
exciting?
I will own and brag that with that.
You're Googleable. And that's like what this
Yep.
strategy does. And that's really what I love so much about it is that it gets you out of the hamster wheel of just posting on social media and trying to stand out in front of thousands of people. It's like, get yourself off of that and start, getting in front of new potential clients, new potential leads, start making a name for yourself, get out there, be seen, and you'll eventually, like now you can Google your name, Google my name. And because of all this work that we've done, which I call external marketing, we're now miles above and ahead the people who are just continually trying to get ahead on social media, posting to the same people over and over again. It's
Right.
like, why would
I
you ever
honestly
do it to
didn't
yourself?
even I didn't even know. Someone pitched me to come on their podcast and they said, "Do you know you're the first page of Google?" I said, "No, I did not know that." So I was like, "Well, that's good that Kate McCauley's coming up there." But honestly, I do credit that
Yeah,
to, what you were saying, go podcasts and different things. I do use social media, but it is not my prime. I tell people all the time, I'm not like an influencer. I'm making an
for
impact.
sure.
But those other spaces, I may do something months ago and then they come and see that where it's different than social media because that's gone pretty quickly.
Exactly. Exactly. And social media is like, it's great. I say 20% internal, which is like social media email lists, because you have to build relationships. That's where you're gonna, you'll build relationships, you'll make offers, they may become your clients in the future. But then by doing 80% external marketing, you're constantly funneling and growing your social or growing your email list so that when you are showing up there, like you're saying, whether it's a couple times a week or whatever, you have new people to constantly be making offers to. So it's just like the whole thing really works together. So thank you also for saying that too.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, Kate. Well, I hope that everyone goes and checks you out and looks at your incredible work. Thank you so much for being here and sharing
Thank
your
you.
story.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure.